The mysterious lady in the Quran, Queen Bilqis. In the Quran, there is a mention of one of the most mysterious women in history, Queen Bilqis, Belqis. She was the wife of Prophet Solomon, alayhi wasalam. Bilqis ruled over a kingdom that extended from southern Arabia to Africa. There are some incredible facts about her that you should know. Some historians have claimed that she was half human and half jinn. So the question arises, could the king of the jinn, Prophet Solomon alayhi wasalam, really marry a jinn despite being human? What does Islamic history say about this? The beginning of the story, through a small bird. This story began through a small bird called the hoopoe, hudhud, which is explicitly mentioned in the Quran. The hoopoe was a bird capable of understanding human speech and served as a trusted spy for Prophet Solomon, alayhi wasalam. It would bring important political news from distant lands. The army of Prophet Solomon, alayhi wasalam. Prophet Solomon's army was the most extraordinary and powerful in history. This army included humans, jinn, birds, and animals. Even the air itself was part of it. The wind carried them wherever Solomon wished. The human soldiers consisted of infantry and cavalry, while the jinn soldiers were invisible to human eyes. The army was so formidable that enemies could not see many of its members. The leader of the animal division was the lion, followed by the tiger. And the bird division included many hawks and hunting birds. Hudhud led the intelligence division. Its responsibility was to fly to distant lands, observe enemy movements, and return with a report. The absence of Hudhud. When the army assembled, many noticed Hudhud was absent and whispered among themselves. The commanders would soon arrive and notice its absence. Eventually, when Prophet Solomon approached the army, the whispers grew louder. He saw that Hudhud was missing. Hudhud had actually traveled to the land of Saba. After a long journey, it sensed that it would uncover crucial news. It perched on a tall tree overlooking the city, observing the roads, houses, palaces, and gates. It noticed something unusual. People seemed to be gathering for an event. It asked another hoopoe in the city, "Oh, beautiful hoopoe, please tell me what is happening in this city." The city's hoopoe replied, "People are going to see the Queen of Sheba. They will prostrate before the sun." Solomon's spy bird confirmed that its intuition was correct. First, it observed the guards, then the commanders and soldiers, and finally, the queen herself emerged from her throne. She descended from her throne and led her people, raising her hands to prostrate before the sun. And all the people followed. Hudhud observed everything and wondered how Prophet Solomon would react to this news. It immediately flew back. After a long and tiring journey, it reached the place where Solomon's army was assembled. All the birds surrounded it, furious. A small sparrow asked, "Where have you been?" Prophet Solomon inquired about you. We hope you have a proper explanation. Fear gripped Hudhud. It decided to approach Prophet Solomon and seek forgiveness. Trembling, it flew to Solomon's tent. At that moment, Solomon was having dinner. Hudhud quietly perched in a corner, keeping away from him, lowering its head in fear. Slowly, it offered its greeting with humility. It said, "My king, I have brought news of a nation of whom you were unaware. In a distant land, I saw a woman ruling over the people of Sheba. She sits on a magnificent throne and possesses things no one could attain. But I saw her and her people prostrate to the sun instead of Allah. Satan has made their deeds appear pleasing to them." These words carried weight. Hudhud had a true reason for its absence. It was on an important mission. Prophet Solomon replied, "We must verify this. Whether what you say is true or not, we need to be certain. I will write a letter. You will deliver it to them and observe their reaction." Hudhud swiftly flew to the city. It perched on a tree in the palace garden and searched for the queen's chamber. It found a large room with a grand balcony. It was clearly the queen's chamber. Holding the letter in its beak, it entered through an open window and decided to hide behind a rooftop structure. It watched as the queen slept, her hair spread across the pillow, her face radiantly beautiful. Seeing her beauty, Hudhud wondered, how could someone, despite possessing such beauty, wealth, and power, prostrate to the sun? It realized that Satan had deceived them, compelling them to worship something unworthy. How could this be? Hudhud pondered. If Solomon's army fought the people of Sheba, the outcome was certain. Yes, the queen was powerful, but she could not defeat the prophet's forces. Solomon's soldiers would easily conquer them. Hudhud hesitated. Should it drop the letter now or wait until the queen awoke? Suddenly, the letter slipped from its beak and fell onto the queen's bed. She opened her eyes and saw the letter. Fearful, she quickly looked around but saw no one. She quietly opened the letter and read, "In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I invite you to believe in Allah. Do not be arrogant toward me. Come to me and surrender yourself." The queen was angry, looked around, and called her guards. "Who dared enter my private chamber? Who did this?" The guards were astonished, replying, "No one entered your room." "We have been vigilant with our swords ready." Hudhud watched from the roof, listening to everything. Queen Bilqis asked, "Through whom did this arrive?" The advisors speculated but could see no one. The queen summoned them for an urgent meeting. She said, "I have received an important letter from Solomon. He calls me to surrender without arrogance. What should we do?" Some advisors suggested war, believing Solomon demanded submission. But a wise advisor asked, "Where is the messenger who brought this?" Without him, we cannot understand Solomon's true intent. Queen Bilqis replied, "I do not know. I woke to find this letter on my bed." Another advised caution, suggesting they should wait. They decided to send a royal gift to Solomon as a gesture of diplomacy. Craftsmen prepared a gift of gold and jewels, ensuring it was fit for a king like Solomon. Queen Bilqis sent her envoys along with one of her commanders to assess Solomon's military power. Solomon already knew about the queen's meeting through Hudhud. The bird reported the envoys approaching, and Solomon understood that the queen sought to gauge him. He ordered his army to prepare and receive the gifts in grandeur. Some people were sent to welcome the envoys with the aim that they perceived themselves defeated before meeting him. When the queen's envoys encountered Solomon's army, they were astounded. The army consisted not only of humans, but also lions, tigers, elephants, birds, and many other creatures. Some could move through the air instantly. The envoys realized they could never win against such a force. They attempted to deliver the gifts with embarrassment and respect. Solomon's officers took the gifts to his chambers, but soon returned with them, saying, "Do you think your wealth can influence us? What Allah has given us is far superior. Take your gifts back. If we approached with a force you cannot imagine, Solomon would expel you from the city in humiliation." The envoys were terrified and relayed Solomon's message to Queen Bilqis. The queen listened and realized that Solomon's only demand was surrender. Hearing the description of his army, She understood the gravity of the situation. There was only one way to avoid war: to try diplomacy. She gathered her advisors and planned a meeting. Meanwhile, Solomon summoned his council and began, "I praise Allah, who has granted us all this wealth and power. Yet how can people still prostrate to the sun when we live and uphold the banner of monotheism? This is a failure and a disgrace." Solomon ruled not for personal glory, but as a representative of Allah. One of his generals offered to destroy the queen's throne and her people, but Solomon sought a peaceful resolution. A Jinn proposed to bring her throne instantly, and another scholar offered to do so even before Solomon blinked. Suddenly, Bilqis's throne appeared before Solomon, immense and majestic, astonishing all. Hudhud tried to understand the miraculous event. In Saba, the queen convened her council and discussed the threats. Advisors recommended sending an even more magnificent gift. Solomon intended to teach the queen a profound truth. True superiority comes only under the banner of monotheism. One may lose the world, but gain Allah and be victorious. One may gain the world, but lose Allah. What then is the gain? Solomon commanded that the throne be altered. The sun's symbol was removed. Meanwhile, Bilqis prepared a caravan with her finest gifts. Architects were summoned to build a palace over water with transparent floors to create the illusion it floated. The palace, adorned with glass, mirrors, and sunlight, was constructed exquisitely. As Bilqis approached, she saw Solomon's army. Extraordinary, terrifying, unlike anything she had ever witnessed. Her fear turned into awe. When she entered the palace, the glass floor shimmered like water. Solomon had created a test. Some rumors suggested Bilqis might be half Jinn, as Jinn have hair on their feet. She lifted her garments to avoid wetting them, revealing her human feet. Solomon confirmed her humanity. He showed her throne, which had been miraculously brought and slightly altered. Under it was a message: "We surrender to Allah." Bilqis realized the truth and wisdom of Solomon. Her heart softened. She abandoned sun worship, and she accepted Islam. Soon her people followed, abandoning idolatry and submitting solely to Allah. All this began the day the small hoopoe first felt an intuition and conveyed it, while other birds had already flown away. This story is narrated in the Holy Quran, reminding us of the immense value of knowledge, the honor of the knowledgeable, and the fact that true wisdom is a unique gift from Allah.